All right, in this video, we're talking identity part 2. How do we give people identity? In all of our encounters with people, we can either give them identity or we can take it. But when we give people identity, they lean in, they move towards us, they begin to trust us, and they want to hear what we have to say. When we give identity, we become important to people and valuable to them. I'm sure you've had those conversations where you leave and you're like, man, that was such a good conversation. I really enjoyed, and you leaned in and you want to hear more about what they say. And we want to be men who give identity, because when we give identity, we give our strength to those around us. And so how do we do that? Well, the first thing we have to do is recognize that everyone's experience is unique to them. Two people can be in the same situation and have a completely different experience. There was this study about twins, these twin boys, genetically identical. They're identical twins, same parents, same household, same upbringing. They got dropped off at school, and the parents had to pick them up super late, way later than normal. One of those twins had the time of his life. He had an adventure. He loved it. He wanted to do it every day. The other twin experienced abandonment and was scared and was traumatized by that event. So two people, same situation, two totally different experiences. The thing is when you disregard someone's experience, even if it's not your own, you disregard that person. When you disregard their emotions, you disregard that person. And when you disregard someone, they lose identity. For example, let's say your kid is playing on the playground and they fall and get hurt, and you saw it, it wasn't that big of a deal, and you rush over there and you're like, you're okay, it's fine, everything's fine, you're fine, no big deal. You have disregarded their experience. Okay, you have said to them, your experience isn't valid, your experience doesn't matter. So what are some practical tools to giving people identity? Well, we like to do what's called following the energy. Following someone's energy is simply hearing their experience, acknowledging and regarding it, then communicating curiosity about their experience and partnering with them in that experience. Now, this can be difficult in moments with your friends and family and coworkers because you want them to be okay. You want to tell them everything's fine. You don't want them to have pain. And it can also be difficult in moments of heightened conflict because our conditioning is to defend ourselves. Like if your wife gets upset at you about something, your immediate response is to, well, I didn't mean to do that. You shouldn't feel that way. I didn't mean to. So when we resist people's energy, those interactions can actually become combative. But when we follow the energy, we give identity and we can partner with them to solve the problem. Now, how do we follow people's energy? Well, we do that by using these three phrases. These three phrases communicate acknowledgement, curiosity, and desire to partner in people's experience. The first phrase is what we call the ooh. Now, I know that's a little bit weird. It definitely was for me the first time I heard it, but the ooh is just simply a verbal confirmation that you are actively listening to the person talking. And the ooh sounds something like, I get that. I hear you. Wow, that's a lot. Interesting. And it's also facial expressions. Like you want to communicate with your face and your words that you are interested in somebody's experience. Now, the first time I ever used this tool was pretty comical to me because my wife came to me with some sort of problem, I can't remember what, and normally my response would be to, oh, everything's fine, don't worry, or explain myself why I didn't mean to hurt her. But this time I just oohed her. I said, oh, wow, that's a lot. And she stopped in her tracks and said, what the heck is going on? Now, this works not just in your intimate relationships, but in all relationships. When you ooh people, you will watch them open up. I had this experience not that long ago where a mutual friend who I didn't really know that much was talking to me, and I just oohed him and was like, oh yeah, wow, that's a lot. And he started opening up to me and telling me all sorts of stuff, and then he stopped in his tracks and he's like, I wasn't meaning to tell you all that. I haven't really told anyone that. And so when you ooh people, you'll create safety to share their experience. The second phrase is what's happening, or what happened, or what happens. See, we don't like to ask why because why is an accusation, why is an indictment. When my wife would come to me upset about the kids, and I'm like, why are you so upset? It's not that big a deal. They're just being kids. That would cause an indictment on her, like she has a problem, and that would cause conflict. When we ask what's happening or what happened, it indicates curiosity. It communicates partnership and invites thought and discussion. And then the third phrase is, I missed it. It sounds like, what am I missing? Or help me understand. Now, this conveys interest. It communicates a desire to understand. And especially in times of heated arguments or conflict, it's really valuable to say, what am I missing? Now, it doesn't communicate that you're wrong. It just communicates that you don't understand someone's experience. There's something happening for them that you don't understand. And so when you say, what am I missing? It's saying, help me understand your experience. But then we have a fourth phrase. Now, this fourth phrase comes in handy after we use all those other three phrases in partnering with people to solve a problem or to step into their experience. And that fourth phrase is, what do you need? Now, this shows a desire to partner to find a solution. And most of the time, all they needed was to be heard. But sometimes they actually need partnership to find a solution. So let me give you a few examples of following the energy and giving people identity. Let's say my wife comes to me and she's angry about our teenagers. Those teenagers, they're just so rude and they're never nice to me, etc., etc. And I just go, ooh, wow, I hear that. That's a lot, babe. What's happening for you? What am I missing? And she says, well, it just hurts. I don't feel like they like me. Oh, wow, that's a lot. What do you need? Oh, I just needed to tell you. Now, what I used to do is resist her energy. And I'd say, babe, it's not that big a deal. They're just teenagers. That's what teenagers do. And immediately we would become in conflict. And we would be now against each other. She would lose identity and we would be in conflict. Or in your place of work. Let's say your boss comes to you and he's like, this project didn't get done on time. It's so messed up. It was done all wrong. And you just go, ooh, yeah, I hear that. What's happening for you? What am I missing? Well, I just wanted it to be done this way and now it's going to be late. And you're like, oh, wow, I hear you. I missed it. What do you need from me? Well, I need you to fix it. Oh, I totally get that. I'm missing something. Can you show me how you want it done? See, you could have said, well, I wasn't the only one working on the project and I didn't do that part and that's not my problem. And maybe that's true. But now it becomes combative, and now it becomes you versus him. But if you follow the energy and you partner to solve the problem, the boss receives identity and they'll trust you and move towards you. And you'll see you'll get a lot more favor with that boss in the future. Or with your kids. This used to happen with me and my youngest all the time. He'd wake up in the morning and he's like, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. And what I used to do, it's like, sorry, buddy, you got to go to school. And that would create this huge cycle where he starts freaking out and it was just horrible. Now what I do is he says, I don't want to go to school. And I go, I hear that, buddy. What's happening for you there? What am I missing? And he's usually like, I don't know, the work's really hard. I don't like writing. The teachers are mean. And I'm like, oh, yeah, man, I totally get that. What do you need from me? And sometimes it's he just needs to be heard. And sometimes he's like, well, could you talk to the teacher about this thing? And now we've partnered. But he goes to school way easier now just because I follow his energy and I don't resist his energy. See, following people's energy gives them identity and it works in all relationships, not just in intimate ones or conflict. Because telling people that they matter and have value creates safety, it creates trust, it creates connection, and it causes them to move towards you. So in every interaction, we have an opportunity to give people identity, and we do that by following their energy, not resisting it, using the three phrases, ooh, what's happening for you? What am I missing? And then following up with that fourth phrase, what do you need? So I want you to take this next week and look for ways to follow people's energy and give them identity.